What is good, Fin Nation? What's good? Who would have thought one of the topics we'd be talking about tonight is Isaiah Ford is back yet again as a Miami Dolphin. I mean, why? I get camp bodies, but we already got 13 other receivers. We don't need a 14th, let alone a guy with stone hands who runs a 4.61 40. So I don't get it. No way he makes the team. Anyways, we'll get into that in a little bit because some cuts came along the way with him signing. We'll talk about Sean McVay giving some props to the Miami Dolphins for a play they ran last season. We'll also look at a Bleacher Report article which basically discusses the biggest concern for every NFL team before the season begins. And then since everyone's given, I saw Bleacher Report jacked one of my trade scenarios that I've been talking about for quite some time, and the homie Clump put out a trade scenario, a couple of trade scenarios today. I'm going to give you my top 5 realistic trade scenarios that I think could actually potentially happen. And no, Isaiah Ford is not better than Kirk Merritt. You got to be smoking the good to think that. So we will see what we'll look at all 5 of those trade packages. I think they're pretty fair and realistic. A couple of them you've already heard of, a couple of them you haven't heard of. So we'll get into that. And then I'll open it up to you guys for a little bit, and we will discuss everything in terms of Xavien Howard, any of the trade packages you guys think that you like in terms of, even if it's not on the top 5 list, trade packages in your mind you think that could go down. And yeah, we'll get into everything. Saquon Barkley, let's fucking go. Hey man, I'd take Saquon. I just don't think it's realistic. So yeah, that's basically what we'll get into tonight. That's on the docket. So let me shout out everyone who's already showed up. Tommy Brinkley, Red Comet, Raphael, Duke, Tomlinson, what up? What up, Australia? Put another shrimp on the bobby. Brad Smokey, Jason Greaves, Irving, Homestar My 6, Trust the Flow Cess, Jeff Premont Jr., Lorenzo, Dylan, Stetson, Jay Hag, Jeremy Clump. What up, homie? I gave you that wrench too, Clump. Jimmy Satterfield. I don't know why I hadn't given it to you, Clump. Tony Usawa, how you doing, man? I saw that music made you jump out of your skin. Hope you're okay, bro. Nicholas, Nick Pandoff, Florida born, Michael Pulisic, big time. What's going on, brother? Josh, Cody Graham, Tucalosa Sosa, Cody Anderson. I would shout out Click Clan, but he made a dumb comment, so I'm not gonna shout him out. J Fam, what's going on? Gene Almighty, what's up, buddy? Dr. Draft, Ricky Butts, Mac, Z-Man, what up, buddy? Congratulations, Cody. I'm guessing you're talking about you got a child on the way. Clump is so new to the YouTube game. He asked what the wrench does. That means you're a moderator, and any idiots in here, you can literally quiet them for like 90 seconds, or you can straight up ban their asses. Mark Jones, what's up? Michael Simmons, Barney Miller. Shout out to everyone for spending some of your Friday night. 110. Nick says my sister's pregnant. Congratulations, bro. So, and plus, Jeremy, you got a little fancy wrench next to your name. And your name's in blue since you decided to take away your membership and it's not green anymore, you son of a bitch. Jeff Stoudemire. What's going on? Severy Day 7, what's up? You better get used to it. We probably are trading X. There's a good chance that's going down. Look at Clump's already getting crap. Watch out, Trust the Flow says. Clumpy coming for that ass over Aaron Rodgers. So yeah, we'll get into it. Let's start off. Let's talk about let's talk about the whole Isaiah Ford thing, because I mean, why? I mean, you tell me why it happened. I don't know. I can't even give you this. So, the Miami Dolphins announced today that they've signed Isaiah Ford and they waived safety Brian Cole and center Tyler Gauthier. So, clearly the center depth going in is Cameron Tom. Never trust a guy with two first names. Michael Dieter and Skura. So Matt Skura. So the interesting thing about this, though, if you think about it, what up, Kane Goat? G Bitzer, Donald Young, what's up? Okay, if you think about this for a sec, we've kind of opened up a roster spot. Like, it's kind of interesting. If you actually do think about it, like, that's what I noticed more than Isaiah Ford, because Isaiah Ford's clearly a camp body, nothing more than that. So I do not think he makes his team by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, I'd keep Jakeem Grant before I keep this guy. Let me see here for Zach. Hold on a sec. Donald Young. Hey, Reason, congrats on the subscriptions. Thanks, bro. It just hit 4,500 today. Question: who is your number one receiver coming out of for 2022? They're both from Ohio State right now as it stands. Just from the preliminary stuff that I've watched on these kids, I would say Garrett Wilson would be my number one, and my number two would be Chris Olav, however you want to pronounce it. Drake London from USC is pretty good. Who else do I like? Anais Smith from Texas A&M. Texas A&M has some good people. They got that boy Bradley. Bradley. What am I on? Isaiah Spiller coming out this year. So you also got Justin Ross coming out. So Treylon Burks from Arkansas. He's another guy to watch. But my one right now, as it stands, would be Garrett Wilson, probably. If I had, if you put a gun to my head and said, "Hey, who is it?" And for anyone asking, yes, my quarterback one for the last 2 years for this draft still is to this day, my boy Sam Howell. So there's a lot of guys like John Mechie's coming out of Alabama, go Canada. Drake London out of USC. Romeo Dubes out of Nevada. Jalen Tolbert out of South Alabama. Like, there's a lot of guys coming out. David Bell out of Purdue. There's a lot of dudes coming out this year. From what I've seen, though, one of the deepest aspects of this draft class is the interior. The interior is loaded at center and guard this year. So yeah, Jahan Dotson, PSU. So there's a lot of guys coming out. Mac, I'm kind of iffy on George Pickens. I don't know what it is. I'm not totally like all in on Pickens. Yeah, guys, I mentioned Michi. Go Canada, baby. I'm not totally in on George Pickens. I don't know what it is. So there's a lot of guys coming out this year. So, but that boy Garrett Wilson, he's a beast out of Ohio State. If you haven't watched him, go watch him. Jeremy Georgia sucks. Yeah. So, all right. So yeah, back to this. Like, the whole thing I came away with isn't that Isaiah Ford's on the team. The whole thing I came away with is that we have opened up an extra roster spot. So what does that mean? Does that mean that here comes the Gator hate, Jeremy. You opened it up. Does this mean that some other move is on the way, or are they just freeing it up in case someone gets waived so they can snatch him? So maybe they're making room for another tight end for all we know. Jesus. But Isaiah Ford, welcome back. Nice camp body. Hopefully we can trade you for something. Again, get you a 7th round conditional pick. So, there could be, this could be, we could be getting 2 players back for Xavien Howard for all we know. But, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, right now we got an extra spot open, so it's going to be interesting to see how that unfolds with the Miami Dolphins. But yeah, Isaiah Ford is back. Throw the parade, celebrate by running naked through the streets. Isaiah Ford's back only to be cut sometime during training camp. Good for him. All right. Continuing on, Sean McVay gave us some props for a play a lot of you guys are going to remember from last year. And this was the play. So, on a recent show following an interview with Joe Judge, coach of the New York Giants, McVay was asked for his favorite big brain play call from the 2021 season. He said, and I quote, "I don't know that I've had a big brain play, but a good copy play might have been the 2-point play that we scored against the Packers, where we ended up throwing a perimeter screen to Van Jefferson, and then he flipped it to Cam Akers coming out of the backfield." McVay said, "Greatest coaches, greatest thieves." Stole that one from the Miami Dolphins via Shane Waldron finding it. Look out for that on the Seattle Seahawks film next year. And of course, the play he's talking about is this play right here. Boom. Maybe that's why they brought back Ford back because Ford's the one who tossed it to Salvin Ahmed, and maybe they're like, "Oh, McVay gave us props for a play Ford was involved with. Let's sign him back." I don't know. Anyways, Dolphin fans watching the Rams play the Packers in the playoffs instantly recognized the play. One, Miami used to take a 6-point lead over the Patriots late in the regular season. While it wasn't the hook and ladder trick from 1981, Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa tossed the ball to Isaiah Ford and flipped it to Salvin Ahmed. Miami made it look easy, strolling into the end zone on the 2-point try. McVay mentioning the greatest coaches are also the greatest thieves is just the tip of the iceberg in terms of insight provided on his podcast, Flying Coach, which is produced by The Ringer. So, I know a lot of you guys remember that play, especially, you guys remember every play we play against the Patriots because every time we score against the Patriots, it's an absolutely beautiful thing. But, yeah, Sean McVay showing some props to the Miami Dolphins and do we give Chan Gailey credit for that? I don't know. Maybe it's the one good thing that Chan Gailey did in his duration as a offensive coordinator here in Miami. So, great play. Sean McVay showing some love, showing some respect to the Miami Dolphins. Gotta love it. So, the Bleacher Report put out an article, and what Bleacher Report discussed was quite simply the biggest concern for every NFL team before the season begins. And no, it's not Xavien Howard potentially holding out. For them, their biggest concern is Tua's take 2. And off-season overreactions are an annual tradition in the NFL. In mid-June, there was plenty of hand-wringing after Miami Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa threw 5 interceptions in a single practice session. However, Dolphins head coach, no one ever talks about the day 2 where he threw all those touchdowns, but I digress. However, Dolphins head coach Brian Flores doesn't seem worried about his second-year signal caller. He said, I don't think Tua is going into a shell. I'll tell him after practice like that to continue being aggressive. The conversations are a lot of what we've already talked about here. Use the time to practice pushing the ball downfield. Then we'll make the adjustments and the corrections. Tagovailoa wasn't terrible as a rookie. 1,814 passing yards, 11 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, but he was uneven. The player selected one pick after him, Justin Herbert, tore up the league en route to the Offensive Rookie of the Year honors. With Ryan Fitzpatrick now in Washington, Tagovailoa is the unquestioned starter under center for a Dolphins team with improved passing game weapons and its eyes on the playoff spot. He'll need to take a major step. Do these guys not pay attention to the team at all? Because my biggest concern isn't even Tua Tagovailoa. My biggest concern is how's this offensive line going to perform? Like, I don't get it. Like, it's unbelievable. How is Tua Tagovailoa the biggest concern when our offensive line right now is easily the biggest question mark? Like, who writes this stuff? Do these guys, like, they just take the easy route? Max says, I'm most worried about Jackson. What about you? He's one of them. I'm actually okay with Robert Hunt because he's where I've said he should be all along since the time we drafted him. Eichenberg limiting rookie mistakes and the learning curve, that's a concern. And that'd be a concern for any rookie. Austin Jackson, again, we can't get that Austin Jackson a return from injury. So don't want to see that. Matt Skura, I don't know what I'm getting. I don't know if he'll return to that 2018 form behind him. Michael Dieter. This is a guy who's never taken a live action snap at the position of center. That's a worry. Cameron Tom's only ever been a backup center. That's a worry. It's a Karras all over again. And I'm worried that Jesse Davis is apparently, Jesse Davis is apparently ahead of Solomon Kinley at left guard on the depth chart. That's a worry. Now, I don't know whether that's them just trying to send a message to Kinley, yo, you got to shed weight and step your game up. But that's a worry. That Jesse Davis, who we all saw last year, I know Omar Kelly loves him to death, but the functional strength he plays at is not significant. It's not substantial enough to be a guard at the next level. So that's where I'm at. The offensive line, look at how many question marks I just brought up about the offensive line. That should be the biggest concern for any Dolphins fan because Tua Tagovailoa and the running game will only go as far as that offensive line takes us. So that's where I'm at. It's got to be the offensive line, not Tua Tagovailoa for me. So, yeah, let's get into my top 5 realistic trade packages. Talking to you, Clump, with your Aaron Rodgers nonsense. And Clump, we got to have a conversation. Alvin Kamara is not the best running back in football right now. Are you crazy? I can name like at least 3 or 4 running backs better than him. Oh, what? You want me to? Cool. Derrick Henry's better. I've got to say Nick Chubb, Kamara and Rodgers in a 3-way trade. Now you're just mocking these people. Yeah, so I got to say Derrick Henry is probably it's between Derrick Henry and Nick Chubb at who's the best running back in the NFL right now. I mean, come on, son. You're killing me with the Kamara stuff. Kamara's probably top 5. Who else do I think is better? I mean, Alvin Cook, Christian McCaffrey. And then I'd probably have Alvin Kamara. And then probably like Saquon and Aaron Jones. And Josh Jacobs after that. I think Kareem Hunt flirts with the top 10. But yeah, I'd give Alvin Kamara like 5th overall. Sure. Why not? But I think it's definitely Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb at the top, Dalvin Cook, Christian McCaffrey, and then Alvin Kamara. Has Alvin Kamara even ever had a 1,000-yard rushing season? I don't know. Has Kamara ever had 1,000 yards on the ground? I know he's had 1,000 all-purpose. Clearly, has he ever? Okay, Jermaine. Yeah, he's never had 1,000. No, he hasn't. Yeah, you got to put 1,000 on the ground for me. Yeah, so yeah, I don't know if I can buy into he's top 5 for sure though, and he's a dual weapon. So, he's still a beast. Okay, so let's get into the top 5 trades I think are realistic here. All right, number 5, and this is a trade that myself and Jeremy broke it that this is what he was hearing. But this is a trade that I'm just putting it realistic because Clump broke it to all of y'all, and this is what he was hearing, and I trust his source a ton at the Eagles. So obviously number 5 is realistic because it's already been reported to an extent. Derek Barnett and the Colts 2022 conditional second-round pick for Xavien Howard. Now, are these reasons top 5 favorite trade possibilities? No. These are realistic with teams that are clearly could be interested in them. Now, obviously, this is a guy coming off a 6-sack season, 7 the year before, 3 the year before that, 7 the year in his first year, 23 sacks in his career. He had 17 hurries last year, 28 the year before. He's got 24 run stops 2 years in a row. Is he the cream of the crop? Hell to the no. But they're clearly interested in adding a pass rusher. And that Colts 2022 conditional second is going to turn into a first. I mean, let's be honest with ourselves. So, I mean, yeah, we've already talked about this trade in length. So Derek Barnett can help to the pass rush. And I mean, even Clump's saying Barnett sucks. Maybe that's why that trade never went down. But if it's gonna happen with the Eagles, that's what it's gonna be. Number 4, Jordan Hicks, and a 2022 first-round pick for Xavien Howard. Now, Jordan Hicks gives you some depth and a guy who can rotate in between the Mike and the Will spot in this defense. This is a guy who he is not a sack machine, or a pressure machine, but he's not really used like that. But this is a guy who will very, very much help us stop the run. Him and Bernardrick McKinney in the middle in rundowns. Oh boy. And Jordan Hicks has already been given the option to seek out a trade. But Jordan Hicks, this would definitely, we're all worried about us helping, about us stopping the run. And, I mean, the kid's only still 29. So he won't be 30 till next year. So this is a and plus you get a first. This is a trade that will help you against the run. And that should be a huge addition to our run stopping ability that we're all afraid of heading into New England. I mean, if you're not worried about us stopping the run heading into New England, I don't know what you're worried about. And when you look at Jordan Hicks's contract situation this year, he has a cap hit of $6 million. That's it. So you're not even taking on a huge cap. And next year it's only $9 million. So this isn't like pressing you got, and you'd have him for this year and next. So I think Jordan Hicks would definitely help out against the run and be a much welcomed addition to the interior. I think him and Bernardrick McKinney would be phenomenal against the run. I really do, man. So trade package number 4 for me, Jordan Hicks, a 2022 first-round pick for Xavien Howard. And let's be honest, the Arizona Cardinals ain't winning the championship, so that'll be an early 20s pick. So, yeah, Jordan Hicks in the first-round pick for Xavien Howard. Trade package number 3. Tony Pollard and a 2022 first-round pick for Xavien Howard. I think this kid is on the verge of breaking out. I think Tony Pollard is going to be a special player if he's given a feature back role. He's only 24. You know, he's only had, if you were to go, he's only had 187 attempts in the NFL. Okay, but guess what? In those 187 attempts, 890 yards and 6 touchdowns. The guy averages 4.8 yards per carry. They're not going to give up Zeke, and people don't want Zeke. But Tony Pollard is legit, people. He's only fumbled once in 187 carries as well. So he offers you something in that scenario. He's had over 22 rushes of 10 plus yards. Again, on only 101 yards last year, 101 attempts. His longest was 42 yards. Guess what? No running back for the Miami Dolphins had a run over 39 yards last year. So Tony Pollard, I think, could definitely be something special. I mean, you want to hear something crazy? What did I tell you? He has 890 yards, correct? I told y'all he has 890 yards, right? Guys, 751 of those 890 yards have come after contact. This guy breaks tackles. This guy bounces off tackles. I would absolutely jump at the chance to get a kid like this. I think he's absolutely fantastic. And, you know, this guy in 2 seasons, he's forced 46 missed tackles, 23 each year. So I think Tony Pollard is a sleeper. Last year, he played every single game. He just wasn't given a share. The most attempts he got in one game last year was 12 against San Francisco, and he put up 69 yards and 2 touchdowns. And he averaged 5.8 yards. So people are sleeping on Tony Pollard, and I think this guy can overcome the deficiency of our O-line. Like right there, the yards after contact tell you he can bounce off of the first guy and keep it going. And let's be honest, last year that offensive line wasn't that great for them. So, and he can offer you, he can run either in zone or power gap. So I'm a huge fan of Tony Pollard. A lot of people sleep on him. I think Tony Pollard could be a difference maker in this offense for sure. So yeah, so I'm gonna go with Tony Pollard and a first for Xavien Howard, because again, Cowboys ain't winning shit. All right, what are they going to be, 8-8 and win? 8-9 or 9-8 and win the division, and then they'll go out in the first round. So Tony Pollard and a first round draft pick again, guys. 751 of his 890 total yards came after contact. Love to see that. All right. The next offer. This is a yo, Hammer. Have you watched Tony Pollard? Has nothing to do with his offensive line. I just told you 751 yards of his 890 have come after contact. That means even if he gets hit in the backfield, he can break it. Stop focusing on the O-line, man. Not every running back needs an amazing O-line. Go look at Barry Sanders. Go look at Nick Chubb early on. Early on, they didn't have an amazing O-line in Cleveland for Nick Chubb. They built it over the last couple of years by adding. They only had Conklin and Jedrick Wills last year. Before that, they didn't have. They were having to patchwork that. Dalvin Cook in Minnesota. Look what he's had going on. Just saying. Trade package number 2. So I've given 3 options because it's one team. EM suggested Eric McCoy. I've added or Cesar Ruiz, who they were high on last year, or Cameron Jordan, plus a 2022 second-round pick for Xavien Howard. Cameron Jordan allows them to trade some cap away, about $9 million in cap. That'll free up about $20 to $21 million in total for them. And in comes Tony Pollard is better than Myles Gaskin. Gauthier. I don't know what you're talking about, bro. Eric McCoy, you either get your starting center. Cesar Ruiz, you get your starting center who can also play guard. Or Cameron Jordan, you get your pass rusher that they really want. And so with Eric McCoy has allowed 2 sacks in 2 years, 1 each year. He's allowed 2 hits each year for a total of 4. He allowed 12 hurries last year and 11 the year before. And he's only allowed 29 pressures in 2 years. While he's taken 4 penalties last year and he took 8 as a rookie. So Eric McCoy is a difference maker. Cesar Ruiz as a rookie. Cesar Ruiz as a rookie did not allow 1 sack, and he allowed 27 pressures. He allowed 6 hits and 21 hurries. This was the guy that they were targeting at 26 that the Saints took right before them, and that's why we moved back. Mr. C. Brown, the Saints had minus $40 million before free agency started. They have plus $11 million. they can restructure contracts. So Cesar Ruiz, Eric McCoy, absolutely give us that starting center, and we don't have to worry about Matt Skura getting the yips when it rains outside. Now, Cameron Jordan. Cameron Jordan had 8 sacks last year, 9 hits, 44 hurries, 61 total pressures, along with 1 forced fumble and 38 run stops. So he is just as good in run defense almost as he is as a pass rusher. He offers you both. And this is a guy who last year, the year before last, in 2019, he gave you 17 sacks. In 2018, 13. And in 2017, he gave you 15 sacks. Last year, he had 61 pressures. The year before, 84. The year before, 72. The year before, 88. The year before that, 79. This is a guy who since 2011 has had 660 total pressures, 106 sacks, 96 hits, 458 hurries, and 353 run stops, along with 10 forced fumbles. So Cameron Jordan can give you the pass rusher that they seem to want. So, and you bring in a bona fide veteran and leader to that defense, especially considering we're going to be running a lot more 4-man fronts this year, from what I'm being told, instead of more 2-man and 3-man fronts. The 4-man fronts will be much more significant this year. So when we run the 4-man fronts, that's right up Cameron Jordan's alley. So Eric McCoy or Cesar Ruiz or Cameron Jordan, and a 2nd-round pick in 2020 for Xavien Howard. Martina, you're not going to get one of these high-quality players in a first. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. These are legitimate impact players and starters. You can't want one of those guys in a first. Now you're just getting greedy. So the only thing you can say about Cam Jordan is he's 32 right now. But the money will make it work. Jets gang, I was about to say, y'all, can you not see all the ors? Eric McCoy or Cesar Ruiz or Cameron Jordan. Like, read, bro. What do you mean? I said you'd get all 3 of these guys? Come on. This is basic English. So one of those 3 players in the 2nd-round pick for Xavien Howard, that's, to me, I would personally want Eric McCoy or Cesar Ruiz, but the Derek Barnett news that Clump broke lets us know that they are still willing to upgrade the pass rushing position as well, in case maybe Emmanuel Ogbah walks. So, both Eric McCoy and Cesar Ruiz are on their rookie deal, Zach. So this gives you your upgrade to a position we are dire of needing an upgrade. So I will take Eric McCoy or Cesar Ruiz 110%. So yeah. And then the number 1 trade is something I've already talked about here plenty of times. And also, I think this guy's a top 10 at his position. And Clump put him in his article and gave me some love. Kareem Hunt and a 2nd-round pick for Xavien Howard. Now, you could get a first, but you'd need a bidding war. If there's a bidding war, then I could see that 2nd-round pick turning into a first. But Kareem, I think, is a top 10 at his position when you allow him to be. Kareem Hunt, I mean, like, let's be honest here. The guy had 921 yards this year on 212 snaps, 9 touchdowns, averaged 4.3 yards per carry. You know, this is a guy who he's been in the league for 4 years. In his first year with KC, when they gave him the rock 326 times, he put up 1,369 yards and 9 touchdowns. You know, he put up 921 yards last year, and he put up 673 of those were after contact. You know, he averaged about 3.17 yards of after contact per attempt last year. He forced 36 missed tackles last year as well. And he had 33 runs of 10-plus yards. I think Kareem Hunt would absolutely change this offense. I mean, this is a guy he's a damn good receiver as well. You know, last year, he had 40 receptions for 319 yards. Again, that year he put up 1,369 yards on 326 rushing attempts. He had 56 receptions for 460 yards. So he had an 1,800 yards from the line of scrimmage. This is a bona fide workhorse that, thanks to his rotation with Nick Chubb, has kept tread on the tires, man. And, you know, this is why this is number 1 on my list, because I would jump at this deal. I mean, yes, we're giving up a top 3 player at his position in Xavien Howard, but we're getting a top 10, arguably top 10 player back at his position. He just hasn't had the workload the last few years. And you'd get a 2nd-round pick. Now, again, if you're in a bidding war, you can try and squeeze that into a 1st. And then the Cleveland Browns, you know, they pair him with Greedy Williams. They got Grant Delpit coming back this year because he missed all last season, I believe. And they've added Jadeveon Clowney, Miles. It makes sense for them giving up a piece like that. It just makes sense for the Cleveland Browns because he's not their number 1 guy. And I mean, I'm just a huge Kareem Hunt fan. You know, and you know, they drafted Demetric Felton this year. The running back. They also have D'Ernest Johnson. So they have options behind Kareem Hunt if they do move off of him. This is the team I would be calling. I know the ideal circumstance would be to get him in the NFC to the Saints for McCoy or Ruiz or the Pollard trade because now he's out of your hair. But goddamn. And the crazy thing is, I mean, you got him for this year and next. And he's only got a $5 million cap hit this year and a $6.25 million cap hit next year. I would absolutely love this deal. Shout out to Philip the Duke, $5 donation. Nick Chubb in a 1st in 2023. We send Xavien and Gesicki. Well, they invested when they brought in Austin Hooper, and they also drafted what's his name? They also drafted that tight end. Help me out, guys. What the hell was that tight end last year? They drafted a tight end last year as well. Oh, what the hell is his name? Man. What was his name? Oh, Harrison Bryant. Yeah, they drafted Harrison Bryant last year. So I don't know if they gave Austin Hooper all that money. So I don't know if they're going to and I don't think they're going to trade Nick Chubb, bro. I don't think Nick Chubb would be on the block. So, I mean, Austin Hooper and Harrison Bryant, they're pretty much set at tight end. So, and the thing is, this upgrades them. They give up a running back and they upgrade their defense significantly. And you got to ask yourself and put yourself in the Cleveland Browns' shoes right now. What matters more? A running back in case Nick Chubb gets hurt, or being in that division with the Ravens and the Steelers and the receivers that the Bengals have right now, and having Xavien Howard? So, I mean, I think Kareem Hunt in a second-round pick for Xavien Howard makes a ton of sense. That's an upgrade. Like, massive upgrade over. He's better than Greedy. He's way better than Greedy Williams. So I think I know they signed Troy Hill to be their slot guy. They drafted Greg Newsome, but again, they got Denzel Ward. They got Greg Newsome. Greg Newsome, who everyone knows I loved, he can sit behind X. And Troy Hill, who they brought over from the Rams, he's obviously going to be their nickel guy. So, I mean, you got Denzel Ward and Xavien Howard. Good God. So, and then we turn around and you either put Jason McCourty or Igbo or Nick Needham on the boundary. Xavien Howard and Denzel Ward would give them what we had with Byron Jones. That would give them the best corner tandem in the AFC. Easily. And then they got a ton of depth at that position. So they can run, 5 DB, 6 DB sets up there. They can go Ruby and Diamond just like we do. Especially when the way to beat Lamar Jackson is to put out as many DBs on the field as possible. So that would put them over the top, man. I don't think Humphrey and Peters would be better because they're better in zone. They're not really, like, Humphrey specifically isn't uber strong in man. So those are my top 5 trade packages that I think are pretty realistic for the Miami Dolphins in trying to offload Xavien Howard if a trade does come to fruition. I would say, with me, even though I had Kareem Hunt at 1, New Orleans, man. McCoy or Cesar Ruiz. God, and you get him into the NFC so you don't have to deal with him. I mean, hey, if they want to give us Hunt and Greedy Williams, let's go. So, I just don't think, man, Mac, why do I want Will Clapp when I want Eric McCoy or Cesar Ruiz? They're way better linemen. Nick, the problem is why they want why they are would be interested, New Orleans with Xavien Howard is Lattimore has gun charges right now, bro. They don't know if he's going to be playing this year. So if you could give me Ruiz in a second or Eric McCoy in a second or a first with each one, which I don't think we would, or Kareem Hunt in a second, even if you give me Tony Pollard in a first, I'm probably pulling the trigger. Because, I mean, Dak Prescott's one hit away from that turning into easily, again, a top 10 pick. And that offensive line has been getting worse and worse. And McCoy or Ruiz would help Tua Tagovailoa, our franchise quarterback, and our running game, Myles Gaskin, or Kareem Hunt would help Tua Tagovailoa. So I'm going to drop the link. If you guys want to come up and talk about those scenarios, let me know. And the good thing about the New Orleans one, you get bona fide center with McCoy or Cesar Ruiz, but you'd also get him out of the division. You'd get him out of the conference. He'd be in the NFC. You wouldn't have to deal with him. Take it easy, Clump. Have a good one, bro. So, man, I kind of built you guys up to 1 and 2. I just didn't throw them in your face. So I think people need to be realistic too. We're not going to get a Laramie Tunsil type of haul. What's up, Florida born? British Finn, Dylan and Bryson. What's going on, guys?
Hey, how's it going?
What's up?
Hey. What's up, Reason?
Man, that New Orleans thing kind of made me feel a little better about this X thing. Only if that could happen.
Hey, man, I don't know. I think this is uglier than people get a credit for.
Yeah.
I saw someone today trying to say, oh, X isn't mad. X isn't mad. Yo, X is mad.
Yeah.
What are y'all talking about right now? Yo, I'm going to tell you right now, Omar Kelly, you can ask Todd Beards if he comes up here. Omar Kelly and X are very close. Very close. So when he's coming up here and saying he's disrespected, dude, it's like I try to tell people this. Omar Kelly got lambasted, and the Dolphins put out a statement that it was bad journalism or bad reporting about the trade in October when he said that he asked for that a trade, that the Dolphins were fielding calls. Barry Jackson put out an article a couple weeks ago saying that, yeah, the Xavien Howard conveyed to them in October he'd be okay with the trade. No one's dragging Barry Jackson. And legit, now that you know that he's close with X, who do you think told him that was going down after that Barry Jackson said Xavien Howard conveyed he's okay with the trade back in October? Clearly X conveyed it to Omar Kelly. The fact that people can't put 2 and 2 together up here because they want to have their little cute Homer hat on and their little aqua and orange rose-colored glasses, it's adorable, but it's not realistic.
No,
I
you're
can't
right.
see.
That's true.
People are high, man. All because they still in disbelief or denial that this might actually go down.
It's going down, man. It's going to happen.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
I don't think he's going to be a Dolphin in 2021.
Does it happen before the training camp?
I hope.
It has to.
Yeah, I mean, I said this last time. I think that would make sense, honestly, since it seems like the relationship can't be repaired. That's how I evaluate all this, right? It's at the point where the relationship can't be repaired. So since we have unfortunately arrived at that location, it would be in both sides' best interest to get it done prior to training camp. Yep. I think that makes the most sense because the Dolphins, they don't have to bring that into training camp, right? I mean, even if he showed up out of good faith, I mean, he's still pissed. And do you really want that there, right? Like, so that's not good. Or if he holds out, but either way, it's going to be a big story. Everybody's going to be talking about it and, whatever. And then X obviously doesn't want to lose out on the money, would want to get to his new team, et cetera, et cetera. So I think it makes sense for them to get it done before then, but we'll see. And I think it will, but we'll see.
What were you going to say, Florida-born? Sorry, British. Florida-born is going to say something that went on my rant.
Well, I'm not naive, and I see what's going on. X is most likely gone. The thing that makes me hard to wrap my mind around is I can't see another team giving him more money than like what we would do with his knee injuries and all of that. I would think his best chance at getting more money would be us.
Maybe it is about.
But remember what Omar said. Yeah, exactly, Z-Man. What did Omar say? It's not about guaranteed money. It's not about the money. It's about respect, and he feels disrespected.
Yeah,
I mean, I think it's about all of that. I think all of it's because I think he does want. From my perspective, I think he does want to be paid like the top corner in the league, and I definitely think he wants to be paid more than Byron Jones. So I do think that's part of the disrespect, in my opinion, too, right? Like the fact that they paid Byron Jones more than him. I mean, look, people hate me for it, but he's not the same caliber player as X. He's pretty far from it, and it just, I would feel the same way, man. He's light years above him, and he doesn't get paid, near as much. Like,
I don't know about light years.
Well, they're different styles, right?
Yeah, I mean,
like Byron's more of a blanket, whereas this guy's a ball hawk. So you're not going to get the ball production out of Byron that you get out of.
Yeah,
and
that's.
X.
But that's the thing though, is I mean, X's ability is super special. But I mean, it is what it is. Like, we're at that point, so honestly, I would really love the Kareem Hunt or Tony Pollard trades. Just real quick, it's just I'm not convinced the Dolphins would do it just because of how their approach to the running back position. So I don't know.
Well, I was told during the draft they tried to trade up with the Vikings to 20.
Yeah.
For the 23rd, and we were gonna take Javonte Williams if he was there at 36.
Yeah, we got jumped.
So they tried to address it, but they didn't.
And they still tried to address it with what's that dude name?
Yeah, we tried. We put in a waiver.
Johnson.
Yeah, we put in a waiver claim for Kerryon Johnson.
Yeah.
And like you said, if Sony Michel get cut.
Oh, if Sony Michel gets cut, you might as well just fit him for the jersey the next day, bro.
Yeah, I that's likely. A former Patriot, former first round. They like to try and rehabilitate former first rounders.
He would have to go through the waiver wire, will he?
I don't know. I would assume so. Boys? What's up, Todd?
How are you guys? I don't know if you guys listened to Big O and Omar today, but
I didn't.
Omar basically said X isn't going anywhere this year, and I would assume that that's based on what the Dolphins have already told them. But I mean, it's just a situation where it just they don't have to do anything. And again, as much as we're putting together all these packages, and I love the Kareem Hunt one, that gets me off my stance that I don't want him traded. But I just don't see how another team can offer us even anything equitable for X and then proceed to pay him the amount of money that we don't want to pay him without having to give up any capital for him. I mean,
there are teams that can. It's that, and the reason why a lot of people are talking about the teams that are in win now is because it's about the mentality, right? So, okay, they look at X and they say, well, he does have some knee issues, so they're going to use that in their arguments, right, against the Dolphins to try and drop the price. Sure. But they also understand, and like X understands, like the Dolphins understand, everybody understands that he likely does have 2, 3, maybe 4 more good years in him. And even if, one of those years he plays 10 games, 1 year he plays 12 games, those games that he plays, he's going to be dominant. And so for teams that feel like right now they can make that push, they'd be willing to take that bet, right? Because there's always
Super Bowl.
Yeah, there's always a way that you can structure the contract to be able to get rid of him and, blah, 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 whatever. I mean, that's part. I mean, from the Dolphins' perspective, that's part of this argument too, right? Is the Dolphins and all teams always do that to players, right? They're constantly structuring ways in which they can just get rid of them if they don't perform or whatnot, or if they get injured. So there's always a way to do it. If they feel like he can take them there now, I mean, how would you feel, right? If that was us, I mean, a lot of Dolphins fans thinks we are going to the Super Bowl, but like if in the quarterback situation, if you feel like you're a quarterback away and you can get him, wouldn't you try? A lot of people feel that way.
Yeah, it's positional value, isn't it? It's like you say, it's for a team that maybe has a small window of opportunity to win a Super Bowl, they may be looking at X and thinking he could be a missing piece. And
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
what you can get from that team.
And my whole thing,
X.
like forcing him to sit and hold out, dude, all you're going to do is depreciate his value, and you'll get even less next year because now he'll be 29, 1 year closer to 30, and you've lost all the leverage because he's shown that, like, listen, if you force his hand to sit out and he does sit out.
Well, he's not sitting out. That reason, that's.
I'm just saying, if he does, hey, Le'Veon did it. So if he does sit out, oh, there goes the Todd feedback. There goes the Todd feedback. If he does sit out and he takes, because he already got his $12 million guaranteed in March this year. Mm-hmm. So, okay, if he decides that he's going to sit out, the issue now you're running into is you've killed all the leverage you have because now everyone knows he's willing to sit out.
And you've got to trade him now, haven't you? Because the longer you hold on to him, the less he's worth. Mm-hmm. And if he's
that's
not
my basic point, yeah.
Yeah.
This is the best value we're going to get for him.
He doesn't want to play for them.
Yes.
His value will never be higher than what it is right now.
Right now,
because you gotta add in too, right? He's coming off of that 10 interception, 20 pass defense season right now. But if he holds that, if he does hold out,
you got crazy feedback, brother, going on right now.
Yeah. If he does hold out, then he will be coming off of a holdout season and not a 10 interception, 20 passes defense season.
And then he'll be 29.
Yeah. So that adds into the context too. Not only is he now a year advanced, right, in age, but he also, instead of coming off of that, near DPOY season, now he's also coming off a holdout season. So that also plays into it. It's just it gets worse the longer you go.
But that would also hurt him too on getting more money.
Sure. But that's what I'm saying. The situation. That's why it makes most sense with where it is right now, relationship wise, between X and the Dolphins. It makes the most sense to just, it's like if you get bitten by a zombie and you cut off your arm before you become a full zombie, right? Like you're trying to get ahead of, or some kind of snake bite or something, whatever. But like you just want to get rid of it, pull off the Band-Aid and get it done.
Yeah, you've got to move quick.
Because you know what's going to be the worst? Imagine if we go through all of this and he gets hurt this year.
I know
Then where are we at?
Which is
where are we at?
And that's a really good point, Reason, because as much as we all love X, he has had injury problems in the past, and you hold on to him and he blows his knee out week 2, it's over. You've got no trade value anymore. He's gone. It's done.
Because we're going off of one season, really.
A little more than that, but yeah, because
22 interceptions since 2018.
Yeah, I mean, again, when he's been on the field, he's shown he's going to produce. But yeah, I mean, that is obviously going to be part of the other team's argument. So
right, basically the stance that they're taking at this point, from what I understand, is he will show up. It does not behoove him to sit out. He's got guaranteed money. He wants it. He's not giving it back. He will show up, but this idea that he's flipping sides and covering the best receiver no matter where they line up is not happening. He's going to come in. He's going to say, whoever's lined up on the left side, I will cover, but the guy that's making $16 million more than me. Said. Yeah, that the guy who's making $16 million more than me, that's the guy who's going to be following receivers. And that's basically going to be his position. I'm going to come in, I'm going to be professional and play, but don't ask me to be your number one player if you can't pay me like it.
Yeah, and don't ask me to do extra.
Right.
And something you mentioned, Todd, because obviously everyone knows up here you have a really good relationship with Omar Kelly. The whole coach's pet thing with with Byron Jones and Brian Flores. You know, we all know Brian Flores didn't draft Xavien Howard, but he was instrumental in the signing of Byron Jones, clearly. And then you got, you know, X goes out and performs the way he does. And, you know, and that's still not good enough to get you into the graces of where Byron Jones is at. I mean, that's got to not sit well with the whole situation either. And this is what I want to bring up to you too, Todd, because I forgot to bring it up. Did I bring it up to Omar? Maybe I brought it up to Omar. Bro, that Darius Butler and Antoine Bethea podcast. We all know how Brian Flores is.
Oh, yeah.
There is no way that's set. If this guy gets mad and reams out Lynn Bowden for that article a couple weeks ago,
that blows my mind.
What do you think the earful X is getting over the podcast where he says, I understand the Byron Jones signing as insurance, but the Noah Monogamy picks felt like a slap in the face. I wanted to go out there every play and make them pay for it. How do you think a guy like Brian Flores is reacting to that? Like, if you want to put a nail in the coffin and get a cold shoulder from a coach, even if you remain with the team, that's how you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Like, I'll tell you right now, Brian Flores probably doesn't like the guy, but he probably loves the player.
I think you're pretty close to the feeling that everyone has.
It's just not sustainable.
But the thing is now you've got X. It's gone beyond money now, hasn't it? It's about pride now for Howard. He's like, you know, you're paying Byron Jones more than me, and I've got 10 interceptions last season. I've clearly outperformed this guy, and you're not even willing to look at my contract again. You don't want to give me any more money. You don't want to restructure it. So now it's become like he could go somewhere else and be on a lesser contract than Byron Jones, but still be on the biggest contract of that team and be their number one starter. Yeah, because he wants to be the number one guy. He wants to feel appreciated, and he wants to feel respected as the number one corner.
Would you guys give him, rip up his contract and give him a 2-year deal and make him the highest paid player?
Yes.
Yeah, I would like that.
That's what I think the best thing.
So you can get off him at 30?
Yes.
Richard Sherman.
Man, yes. Darrell Revis.
Pay the guy. He's the man.
1-year deals.
That was Darrell Revis. Yeah, 2-year deals, right?
Yeah.
That's the way to do it.
See, I think the Dolphins are in a situation where they understand they have all the leverage. I mean, they do. I mean, X really doesn't have anywhere to go, especially with the guaranteed money ends this year, basically, for all intents and purposes. So you've got a situation where they can pretty much force him to play this year on this deal, but it absolutely severs the relationship at that point. I mean,
it's done.
Point, yes,
it's over.
Done. And the problem with that, though, is other teams know that as well. So the Dolphins, from what I understand, feel like the correct compensation for a player of his caliber is a first and a third. And they also know that he's been out there for a while and nobody's paying that. So it's a tough situation. I do think that the Dolphins get to hide behind COVID a little bit because, you know, while as much as I'm a player-oriented guy and say, you know what, players should have the opportunity to renegotiate when they exceed their contract value, the same way the team depreciates you when you don't perform. The player also has to be mindful of the fact that the team does make decisions based on how they've spaced the cap out for other players. And what COVID did to the cap this year or last year made it very difficult to anticipate. We all know that the cap's going to explode next year between new television money and although the revenue did come out today or whatever, and it was pretty substantial anyway. But
you got like $360 million.
Yeah. So I do think the Dolphins were able to say to X, you know, if they wanted to, listen, we do respect you. We would like to pay you, but we got thrown a major curveball in this whole scenario. and then moving on from some contracts cost us some money. If they made any sort of effort at all, I think they could sell it. But from what I understand, they really haven't even come to the table at all to discuss it. They just, it is what it is.
So it seems.
Yeah.
It's a poorly managed situation. It's just a poorly managed situation by the team. Yeah.
Todd, so from what you understand, they haven't even gone to the table and discussed more guaranteed money?
Yeah, nothing at all. They haven't discussed. They've pretty much ignored the situation.
I mean, that's not good.
Wow. Well, here's
the fuck is that though? Like,
that's the ultimate disrespect, man.
No, I feel you, but here's the
wonder he
kicker,
feels disrespected.
That's where the word disrespect comes from.
That's
where the word disrespect comes from, and when you wonder why the kicker deal bothered him so much, because of course Jason Sanders needed to get paid, and it doesn't affect his money at all.
Kicker.
What it is.
But that kicker got you a lot of points last year too.
Right. Yes, but he's saying, you haven't even.
Good point, Mr. Ballgame.
Told me where your head's at. You know what I mean? Like, you haven't even told me where your head's at, and because the cap's so screwed up and whatever. If there's that little bit of available money,
I'm taking care of the best player on my team before I'm taking care of.
And that's it. And I understand you could say you don't want to set a precedent.
Here's the problem, Mike. Here's the problem. The only problem I see with this whole situation is, one, if he's feeling disrespected, and that's the reason behind it, then I get that part, right? But also, from their standpoint, we gave you guaranteed money. You're on a contract where you already got your money in March. So
but at least go to the table and tell him.
I get that.
If you ball out this year, we'll take care of you next offseason.
Bro, I don't even think it's about him balling out. I think it's about him actually being able to prove that he can go back-to-back seasons of being healthy. I don't think it's not a question of his talent and what he can do on the field. It's whether he's going to be there.
They like the production they're getting for the cap hit.
Well, that too. But the money, the real money, the next money that they're going to be able to give him is next year, right? They don't have any. We don't have anything to give him now anyway, right?
What about?
Yeah, but you know what he's going to say.
I get it.
We got the money. Wait a minute, hold on. We got money.
He's going to say,
"Where is it?"
No, but But you got to understand. If this gets to where they don't even sit down to the table to them, and they force him to play, basically, bro, he's not even going to come to the table next year. He's going to say, "Fuck you, trade me."
They gotta make some cuts.
Of course,
in that wide receiver.
Yeah, they gotta make a lot of cuts. But
that's what I was thinking. That's what I was saying. That's what I was getting to.
Right now, at this point, the worst. It's a bad situation in my opinion for both sides of the table in terms of negotiations and not having any negotiations. But the kicker is that the Dolphins don't have to do anything. They already paid him. Yeah. He already got his money, unfortunately. And here's the kicker.
Yeah, but it's good business. It's good business.
I get what you're saying.
Sit down with your best player and tell him where you're at least at.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. Even if you're not going to offer more money, at least have the fucking conversation with them is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's good business, man.
Definitely.
Right.
To some degree, right? I think the thing is that they haven't done it yet. I think maybe they will. Right, and I think maybe they're just willing. I think maybe
they get the training camp.
Listen. All of it can be fixed. I think all of this can be fixed if they leave the feelings outside the room and they go in.
It's not gonna happen.
You can't say it won't happen.
They're going into the 6 months since the season ended. They haven't done it yet.
Yeah, that's why I feel like
but you also got a guy. You got a guy out there talking, right? And the last thing that he should have been doing at any point is going to some other platform and putting them on blast about his.
He didn't handle it right at all. You got to read. You got to read the room with your. You got to read the room with your head coach and how he is on that one.
So at the end of the day, right? Maybe this whole process. I mean, for me, if it was me, I'm gonna make him sweat a bit. Fuck it. I ain't got nothing to lose. I own your rights anyway. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
He's not gonna.
And at the end of the day, if you truly about what you really say you about. Bro. You'll show up and you'll do your job, and we'll renegotiate your contract upon you showing us in good faith that you'll pass all this petty bullshit.
Tell them that, though. That's my whole point. Fucking tell them that.
I feel like the only reason that I do feel like the only way this makes sense is if the Dolphins do plan on doing something is because none of it does make sense. You realize that. So you say to yourself, the only thing that can make sense is they are looking at it going, we can't come to the table and we certainly can't sign him until we know we're not trading him. If we trade him, because, we can't give him any more money. We can't do any of that if a trade is going to happen. So The only way that we can do this is wait until the last minute when we know everyone has called our bluff. No one has come to the table with compensation that's worth moving him. And because the Dolphins, they could afford to play him. Like, again, you go through the positions that typically eat up your cap, and you go, well, quarterback, of course, one. He's on a rookie deal. Pass rusher, we all know Agba is making, marginal money for a premier pass rusher. We know that, wide receiver one usually eats up a big piece of your cap. We're not in a situation where we're paying, $20 million a year to a receiver. Cornerback one, that's where our money is between Byron and X. But, I mean, basically every left tackle, we're on a rookie, and we have him on his rookie deal for another 3 years. We don't have any of those problems of paying a blue-chip player at the premier position right now for years.
Right.
I mean, we could definitely make it work if we want to. And we have an owner that has liquid money. So, I mean, he could basically convert anybody's salary to a bonus if he wanted to.
None of those players are considered blue chip currently either. The only blue chip player is Xavien Howard. We hope those players turn into blue chip. And then if they do, then we have to pay them, but yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're in a position where we can, and at the same time too, we're, I'm not worried about setting a precedent, because if the precedent is play like the defensive player of the year and we'll rework your deal no matter what year you're on it, I'm okay with that being the bar. Like, that's fine. Yeah. You want to go – if Tua wants to go win MVP and get his extension a year early, okay, go win MVP. We'll give you an extension a year early.
But that's how it should be, perform like it, and we're going to pay you like it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it sets a good precedent for the other players in the locker room. We're worried about setting a bad precedent that we might play the defensive player of the year. I think it sets a great, precedent if people see you take care of the best player on the team.
It's incentive. If you perform at that level, you're going to get the fucking money that correlates to it. Like, I think that's right.
5-year deal. You had an amazing – the first year of the deal, you missed 11 games. The second year you come out, you get 10 interceptions. All I'm asking you is to show me in the third year, midway point of your deal, that you can do it at a high level again with no real issues for injury issues. That's all I'm concerned about at this point. I'm not at any point challenging or even questioning anything you can do on the field. I want to know if you're going to be available for me on Sundays.
But see,
I'll take care of you. Hell, get to week 8. We can renegotiate
is availability.
But Howard,
and I think the Dolphins' position is completely reasonable in all of this until they paid a position player basically double what X paid and left all the responsibility on X. It's a combination of the whole thing. It's you brought someone in at that position and paid him a lot more than me, but yet rolled all the help to him and asked me to do all the heavy lifting.
Bro, but here's the kicker, though, right? Here's the kicker. How are they supposed to know what his situation was going to be and what he was going to look like after blowing the knee out? So you got to go out. You go out into free agency, and unfortunately, in free agency, that was the going rate for a guy of Jones. They're not
supposed to know, and that's the problem. It's a good problem to have, but X actually outperformed even their highest expectation. It's a wonderful situation to have, but that's what his point is. I understand you didn't know how I was going to perform. You didn't know this was going to happen, but now that I did, what would you like to do about it?
Well, we get to year 3. We got to get to year 3 of your deal, and then we can restructure whatever you want.
But right
now, we paid you already. We gave you good money for where we were when we originally sat down with you and gave you your contract. Just show up, bro. Just show up.
But even Howard said, right, in that interview, he understands his right. So he did kind of contradict himself, to be fair, and he said both things, right? He said, I understand because of my knee issues why they got.
He said that was Byron, right? But then Noah is the one he said he took his slap in the face.
You always got a plan for the future anyway, though, bro. Like that's not even a part of something he should be worrying about as a player, because the team always has to plan for the future.
I know. Well, you got to understand the environment he's in, though. He's seen it firsthand where these guys, they don't fuck around. As soon as they get their usage out of you, they don't care what's left on the contract. Bye-bye. If they don't think you're used to them. Well, it's not really the business. What we've done in the Brian Flores era, a lot of other coaches don't do that.
Yeah.
But look what he saw firsthand. You brought in your boy, Kyle Van Noy. That's your boy. You brought him in, and after 1 year, you said, sorry, bud. I'm not even going to give you a second year to redeem your ass. get the fuck out of here. And that's your boy.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to say, Howard knows, though, his injury situation. And, I would guess he understands that he's not getting any younger and it could potentially be an issue. And it goes to his value. Right now, it's as high as it can be. So he wants to go. And even if you think the Dolphins at some point will maybe pay him, the likelihood of it being this year is pretty remote. And so he wants to take advantage now of that value, right? That's I think is a pretty major part of it coming from X's side. If they're not going to pay me now, I don't want to be here, right? I want to go someplace where they're going to pay me now because maybe I only do have another couple years in me, and I want to make sure that I get the bag when I can get the bag.
Right. I want to get paid off of a 10 interception season.
That's why I think the best thing to do is what Reason said: tear up the contract, give him a 2-year deal, bada bing, bada boom. There you go.
Love it.
What did Darius Slay? Hey, what did Darius Slay get at 30?
Fuck with it, but
how much money Darius Slay got at 30?
A ton of money.
So the money's still out there, right?
I mean, but that's the thing.
Yeah, but
it's not an if. He got the contract.
But if he does blow out his knee,
but listen to what Todd said again. A friend of Omar, and Omar's tight with X. The problem, the dice game you're playing now is. What if he says, fuck you, I don't want to come back to the table, and the whole relationship's been severed, and now he says, look at he goes out and he puts out 8 interceptions. He says, see, I showed you again. Now trade my ass. I don't want to be here.
That's what Omar was alluding to, Reason. He was saying that it's become a question of principle and pride now, not money.
Right, and that's what the concern, like we said, we're talking about teams making the move because they say he's the missing piece. Well, we all agree that we're probably not Super Bowl caliber this year, but what happens if we do go to 11 or 12 wins, get a playoff win, and then we look at losing X? Let's say we do have the number 1 or 2 defense in the NFL next year. We get to an AFC championship or on the doorstep of an AFC championship. Now it really hurts losing them.
But that's also
he's the missing piece to us.
Well, that's going to be a large part, and it's going to be in large part because of X. I mean, if that's the case, X is going to be on the field, he's going to be healthy, and he's going to be performing again. Because I mean, at least logically speaking, from right now, because he's the one that we know can do it, right? Maybe Javon Holland gets there, right? Maybe Noah takes his steps forward, but we know that X is. So if we get there next year, and I hope so, it would in large part be because of X. And then if it gets to that situation, like Reason just said, I mean, that's. Think of it then. X would be like, look, not only did I get all these interceptions, but then I helped us get to the playoffs.
Right.
Bro, I'm gone. Like, you didn't want to come to the table. I'm gone.
I just think that would be terrible. I just think of all the money we've spent over the last 10 or 15 years on guys to try to get to, 9 wins or on the cusp of playoffs. And now we might lose basically the best defensive player we've seen over dollars. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is. It reminds me
of trivial fucking
I'm not banking on a guy with knee issues.
Shouldn't even be in there.
He got money. He got money in 19, man. He should be good.
I mean, you guys remember when we had Vontae Davis and Sean Smith and we broke that up. And obviously we had Surtain and Madison, and thankfully they kept those two together.
You know how mad I was when we broke up Vontae Davis and Sean Smith, and then Sean Smith goes to KC and balls out. Vontae.
Oh God! Don't even talk about it.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah. Now, a credit to Vontae, because I would have walked out at halftime if I was a Buffalo Bill too. But we could have had a premiered tandem for like 4 or 5 years between the two of the guys.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you though, it's pretty impressive. Stephen Rush should be thankful for how many people are willing to protect his money. Like, I don't care how much it costs Stephen Rush to keep him.
Dolphin Don, I like you, but that is a very bad point, bro. Did Seattle suck after they lost Sherman? Dude, their defense was the whole reason they went to Super Bowls. They even sniffed that shit since they broke up the Legion of Boom, bro.
Man.
And you can blame, and that's Russell Wilson's fault. Like,
I think them losing Browner was more important than them losing Sherman.
I mean,
they lost
Chancellor.
Cam Chancellor.
They lost a bunch of guys on that.
But Sherman was a key piece to that defense.
He was a key piece. Yeah.
No one threw at him when he was in Seattle.
Yeah.
He's the anchor man.
Yeah, man.
And now
Let alone losing
and reason if we'd have had Devontae,
my point, Dolphin Don. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, if we would have had Davis and Smith, it would be no Flores because we'd have had a stout defense.
Yeah,
that we wouldn't even have to go out to all them coaches. Flores wouldn't even be here.
Fucking Hard Knocks, eh?
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah.
I'll take the winning, man. If a coach and a regime can prove they can win sustainably, I'll take that. I mean,
yeah,
you know,
all I say is
whoever the name is, I don't care.
This is what it comes down to.
Prove it to me.
I hope Brian Flores and Greer know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because you know what? I get the Tunsil trade.
Interest.
I get the Tunsil trade. Who the hell is going to turn that down?
Right.
But you let Minka walk.
Man.
And me and Ballgame talked about it privately. You know, it's not because of Brian Flores, like people make it seem to be. It actually wasn't because of Brian Flores. It was because of him and X's girl. And then, you know, now you couldn't work that out. And now X is going to be fucking walking out the door. I mean, shit, that's like 2 all-pro players in the secondary, which is the heart and soul of how this defense and this team is built right now.
Right. Yeah. That's the problem. You know, it just seems a lot more about ego than it does about money on both sides, really. Even, even on the front office side, you know, even on the Flores career side. You could write them. You could write the check.
Oh, Todd, I don't even have to talk to the guy, and I know what Flores is saying. I can make it work without him.
Right.
Yeah.
Even if he holds out, I can make it work.
Do you know sometimes?
Why do you think they signed Jason? I'm telling you, that's exactly why they signed Jason McCourty.
Yeah,
right.
I was saying
everyone's slotting in Igbenogany. I wouldn't put the cart before the horse on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like Omar Kelly said, bro.
We talked about that last
Noah's going to have to get at least 50% of the reps.
Who?
Yeah.
Noah's
going to at least have to get 50% of the reps.
There'll be opportunities. There'll be opportunities for him to get on the field, but like the contingency plan has already been in place in the event that he decides to sit. So
let me ask you guys.
Well, Coleman, they brought in a few different corners, right? They brought in McCourty, they brought in Coleman, they brought in Trill Williams, right? They brought in several guys. I mean, it's not like they're thin there when it comes to bodies.
Justin Coleman let you know there was something up because that's a premier slot guy that all of a sudden kicks Nick Needham to the boundary. Or Igbenogany, when they said he's going to get slot reps, that all of a sudden kicks him potentially to the boundary. And it was like, why?
Yeah. Well, and people said McCourty
only had one bad game in the boundary in the slot last year, and that was against the Bills at the end of the year.
I mean, people say McCourty is going to be possibly played at safety, and I can see that. I don't discount that, but I mean, I think that was in large part going to be insurance for this whole situation as well. I mean, I think it seems pretty clear. But
listen, man, you have to have contingency plans.
I get that, but they also. I mean, there's so many things along the way that could have been done to prevent this situation.
I just think sometimes it feels a bit frustrating because, you know, if X was on the Rams, even with Ramsey, on the Ravens, even with all the great cornerbacks, he would get a new deal because this guy's he's a ball hawk. 10 interceptions. What did he? How many last season? 5, 6 plus 10.
Yeah, he's had 22. He's had 22 since 2018, and in that span, he missed 11 games.
Yeah, and there is a precedent for a player of his caliber, you know, ending up leaving. And you know, the Jalen Ramsey thing played out for Jacksonville, and look how it played out. And I understand there's a lot of other problems there and whatnot, but you know that. Everybody's got to look at that and go, the Jaguars made a mistake there. You know, I mean, that they should have made that work somehow. You know, I mean,
that's what they'll say about us.
I just don't see how you could possibly, if you're Greer, I understand Flores because Flores is hands-on and he feels like he could make it work. But I don't understand if you're Greer, how you can let a talent like that leave, especially when you know you're not getting market value for it. You're not.
Would we not rather trade Byron?
I mean,
Byron.
You know,
keep X, trade Byron.
No, the funniest thing will be if they restructure Byron and then pay X.
I mean,
there's not many good situations or outcomes to this.
No, there really isn't.
Mm-mm.
Not one that most of the fan base is gonna like, but I just
I mean, ball game.
Yeah.
You're secondary coach, defensive coach. What do you hear when Todd and Omar say that he comes out and he'll say, you know what, I'll play the left side. But I'm not doing anything. Don't ask me to. Well, they didn't ask him to travel last year very much, but Don't ask me to travel. Don't ask me to do anything more. I'm just taking the guy on my side. End of story. I'm not doing anything extra for you. I mean, yeah, you're getting him out there. That's great. But at the same time, the guy's not fucking fully invested.
Right. Well, I mean,
which usually leads to a guy getting injured or mistake.
He has to really look at this situation for what it truly is and tell himself, like, I still gotta go do my job. Like, I know there are millions of people that have to get up every morning, get in their car, and drive to their shitty job to have to go perform. You know what I mean? This is a part of being a big boy, and I just believe that if you truly invested in what the Dolphins are really trying to do, then you just get up, you show up for work, and they'll take care of you. I have to believe that. I have to believe that they'll do right by him. Well, he has to come and be in the building. No amount of all this other shit that he's doing outside is going to get him any closer to the bag.
I agree with that.
I just feel like really at this point right now, this is like the 2.0 version of you don't see Belichick discussing, and them guys see it talking about contracts and all this other bullshit outside of the building. They have a hard time hanging out in New England past that point. You just do your business. All our business needs to be done inside. Our house business needs to stay in-house, not outside.
Exactly, yeah.
Not outside.
It affects the locker room culture.
I mean, that's ideal.
Oh, that's built through.
I'm just saying.
That means by definition, X is going to be a Philadelphia Eagle.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's the thing though, is he already feels disrespected. So do you think he honestly thinks, man, I should show them good faith? Like, and so even if he doesn't, my question with that, like, you know, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, half-assed lackadaisical approach to his season, does that mean he's not gonna attempt to intercept the ball? Like, because he is a natural ball hawk. So like, is he just not gonna like try and get turnovers? If that was the case,
I don't see that.
I don't think that's gonna happen. I don't think he's gonna.
He hurt his own value.
He's a winner, man.
He hurt his own value if he do that.
Yeah.
No, he won't do that.
I get that, but I mean, like, what's the point then in even going out there if you know, like, if you're gonna, I don't know. I mean, it's crazy.
Because in his mind, he still wants leverage, even though he might not have the leverage. He's got to go perform his best so he can have leverage.
But then he's got to actually play. Like, then he's got to actually play, right? Because if he's gonna perform like X, then he's actually got to play. So it just seems strange to me.
Yeah,
like,
he boxed himself in. Yeah,
like, what's the point in being like, I'm gonna go out there and only play half-assed?
Right.
But you know, I don't know.
It is ugly, but that's the other reason why nobody has a good argument in this, and that's why I really believe that's why the Dolphins haven't come to the table at all. Because really, when you get to the table, what do you say? Well, we you know, if I'm Cantor, I easily say, you know, guys, you guys put a number on what you thought a top-notch cornerback was worth. You paid it to Byron Jones. Why can't our guy get it? I mean, just point blank, who do you think's a better player? Who's more valuable to your defense? So why are you paying this guy more? Why won't you compensate our guy? And then the Dolphins argument, the only thing they basically can say is we have treated him in good faith. He did put his name on that contract when we gave him that money. And, you know, we had a COVID situation. Just show up, be a professional. We paid him when the knee injuries were an issue, and we'll take care of you. But really, the Dolphins have no argument outside, hey, you know what? We have you boxed into a contract, and we want you to play for it because you really have no choice. Besides that, they can't justify what he's getting paid as opposed to Byron Jones. They can't be justified.
Yeah, and you make a really good point because
I don't necessarily think that they even have to justify it based on the fact that when the market was set, they didn't set the market in which they had to pay Jones. That's set by all of the activity in the league, and it just happens that X happened to sign his deal a year prior to the market being reset. That's not on them. I mean, he has to, at the very least, right? You got 5 years. The third year mark is where you can come in and say, okay, well, let's take a look at this. Fact of the matter is, he's already been paid for 3 full seasons of his. This will be the 3rd season of the guaranteed money for his deal. Now, if he was in year 4, year 5, and then doing all this shit, it'd be different. But we're talking year 2. And the first year, you didn't even finish the season, bro. Realistically, I want him. Listen, I'm all about players getting their dough. But I also know that the availability factor is always factored into a lot of these contracts. And I'm looking at it. If I'm the business, if I'm the business and I'm looking at it, I paid you all your money in a season, even though it was a low production season for the team as a whole, but you got paid 11 games for nothing. I didn't get anything from you for that. Now, you came out and you gave me back some of what I expected from you in 2020, but I still paid you then, and I just cut another check to you in March of this year where your entire salary is guaranteed. I expect you to show up, honor this deal, and then we can renegotiate at some point either in the season or at the end of the year. But you are a Dolphin. Be a Dolphin. And let's do this in-house. That's all I'm saying. Because at the end of the day, I think everybody want him to get paid. Everybody want him to be here. And I think they don't want to lose him. I think they probably had some maybe they haven't gotten the offer that they really want, but they've gotten some offers that some other teams probably were like, shit, I would have took that. But why? They don't have to.
No,
really don't.
Right. I think
Mr. Ballgame, didn't they pay? Didn't they sign Then Xavien Howard signed like a $29 million signing bonus, and then they paid him his money from his 4th year because don't rookies make the majority of their money in their 4th year? I mean, I'm sorry, players when they sign the rookie deal.
I'm not gonna even get into I don't remember what the actual contract stipulations were, but I know that out of the entire time Xavien Howard has been here, he's only played 2 full seasons.
Right. I think from what I understand, and I'm about to speak on something I don't know 100%, but just listening to what they said.
Hold on for a second. Let him, because I think he was on. What was your question?
I'm saying that I'm adding to your point because he signed because of the majority of his guaranteed money he received them when he signed the contract in 2019, right? Mm-hmm. And they still paid him his money, what was left of his rookie deal, even after he got hurt.
Well, some of that, some of that gets absorbed, but they paid him his entire salary in 2019 for 5 games, bro. Legitimately. I mean, everybody has some people have, there's always arguing points for both sides. That's an argument point. Like, bro, just show up. We'll take care of you.
Yep,
we didn't have to do that. Yep. We could have put a stipulation in based on your injury history that for every game you missed due to injury, you lose money, but we didn't.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's all sorts of wacky contracts out there. Go ahead, Todd. I'm sorry, bro. But
no problem, pal. From what I understand, just listening, and I don't know Reason may know better or be able to look into it. The verbiage, from what I understand, the contention is where we look at this and say, hey, you're on your 2nd deal of your extension. The Howard camp is saying basically, no, this is the 3rd year. The rest was all semantics because the way you called it a 5-year, $75 million deal, but really it was 6, and you were counting a year, on paper. And basically they're saying this is the 3rd year that we're playing on these numbers. And I don't know. Like I said, I've never looked into it because it really didn't matter to me until this came up. But I think basically Xavien feels like it's his 3rd year on this deal at this rate versus the Dolphins trying to sell it as 2.
Yeah, but he signed it in 2019, so in the offseason, right? So 2019, 2020, 2021.
And the thing about it is, I think it's to the point where, what was I going to say about that? That was, with him being injured and paid. I think he's got to take the Dolphins at good faith too and say, you know what, you did believe in me in advance. Yes. You really did, and that matters. That's supposed to matter.
I'm not.
Well, that's what pissed me off. That's the thing that pissed me off about the man-to-man pod. It wasn't the slap in the face comment. It wasn't I want to make them play every play. It was when he kept saying,
said he bet
I
on
bet on myself. It's like, bro, we bet on you.
We bet on you.
Like, what are you talking about?
Right.
You know, you had an injured
And
pass
that's
coming out of Baylor, and you even got injured, you know, in 2019.
And you've had some legal issues. You've had some off the field stuff that we've stood behind you and let it play out.
Yeah.
I think it's sorry, I just
go ahead, buddy. No, you go ahead. You speak first.
Just a couple of quick points, guys. I just think one, it's when we gave Xavien his new deal, we knew that Byron was coming in, and we thought that Xavien would be like, you know, 5 interceptions maybe is a good season, maybe 6, 7 tops. We knew that Byron was going to come in and be the shutdown corner. Wasn't going to get a huge amount of interceptions. It was going to lock down the main receivers of the opposition and, you know, bat the balls down and stuff. So we gave Xavien a contract based on probably what we thought he would do, and has way exceeded what we thought he would do. And that's where the problem lies. And the second problem for me is that you look at New England, they tried to shop Stephon Gilmore, 29 years old, only 1 year older than Xavien Howard, and they wanted a first-round pick, and they couldn't get it. And now we're in a little bit of a sticky situation because we've got a player who's exceeded his contract expectations, and also us now thinking, okay, we now need to trade him, but are we going to get what we really want for a guy like Xavien Howard? Are we going to get a first-round pick? You know, it's going to be a struggle.
Honestly, I'm getting worn out by this shit. If I'm keeping it real, like this shit is stressful.
Yeah, man.
I don't know. I mean, I've told you, I think this whole thing is probably a little bit beyond repair at this point, and I think probably, you know, one way or another, it's going to be an ugly end. But I don't care. I mean, I do care what happens, but like, part of me at this point just wants something to happen, right? Like something definitive, so that way we know, so that way we can kind of like move past this like giant speculation period where we're just like wondering and kind of in the dark. It's stressful, man.
I just think when you hit on a premier player, at some point you've got to value your homegrown talent. I mean, again, like Reason said, Laramie Tunsil, different situation. When Bill O'Brien's on the phone making deals like that, anybody's available. But
an idiot.
But you can't. I mean, we don't have a great enough draft history to finally hit on these guys and let them walk. Whether it's Landry, whether it's Tunsil, whether it's, you know, Xavien Howard or moving on from Minkah Fitzpatrick. How many times do we want to pick? And by the way, we're becoming a good football team that's drafting in the 20s and hopefully the late 20s. Like, we can't keep hoping that we can replace these guys picking 25th and 26th in the draft. Like, if you hit at a premier position with a premier player, I just can't see being so lackadaisical about letting them walk. You know, I mean,
you shouldn't be. You shouldn't be. And it definitely, I mean, I don't think it's smart for them. But, I mean, it's a mess. It's a mess. Like, no matter how you slice this thing, it's a mess. And you know,
difficult to explain to.
But again, is it, guys? And I agree. But I want your opinions on this. I'm not asking. Is it a mess though, or is it just pay the guy more money? Like, what? I mean, I don't think any of us believe that we can't make it happen.
That's why I say we need to stack up on a bunch of seconds.
Everybody in the league is watching this entire situation go down, and if they pay this dude coming, because 2016 is when he was drafted. 2019 is when he signed a new contract, which basically null and voided the last year of his rookie contract, and then he got the new money, right? So if they go into this now after only 2 seasons played, essentially on the new deal, right, and renegotiate his contract, it's going to landslide how negotiations are done in the NFL. I guarantee it. And so it's so much pressure right now on the Dolphins to do the right thing.
The integrity of the team. So, like, really, who gets hurt? Who gets hurt if we lose our helmet for a minute and pay Xavien Howard when we don't really have to, or when we shouldn't?
We don't necessarily know that, but they get to set the precedence on how these negotiations probably are going to be looked at going forward as well now in this new situation, because Generally, you ain't paying somebody 2 years into a new deal, bro. They're just
Right,
not.
but I'm not looking to make it easier for the Ravens to keep their talent or the Patriots to be able to keep their homegrown talent or anything like that.
Yeah,
like, who am I hurting? Who am I jeopardizing by paying a player earlier than I should? Because I think the whole point is his season is supposed to blow precedent away. I understand we don't normally do deals in the second year. I understand all of that. But it's like if Tua went out and threw 60 touchdowns, like nobody cares that Mahomes got $500 million because his numbers were just so insane that you just go, you could reset the market. What kind of year makes it acceptable to break the norm?
That's not a precedent I care about setting.
Right. I don't care about that's what I mean. Like who do we hurt if we do things – I mean, because look, I don't think the players would mind. I don't think anybody on the team would go, "Wow, that really sucked." I don't think any free agent would look and go, "I don't want to play for that franchise."
I mean, that's the reason why you reset the market, right? Is because you have a player that performed at a level that's worthy of resetting the market.
I
think philosophically that's the point of it.
I think you've got to look at it. Who's the best player on the team?
Yeah, I don't even think it's a question.
Defense. Xavien Howard is the best player on the team.
He's the only one you're going to dub a blue chip player unquestionably.
Kind of like Reason said, we're setting a good precedent. We're telling the other players on the team, go out, you go out and perform top 3 in your position, we're going to take care of you. And that's going to show other players in the league, hey, Miami takes care of you. If you go down there and you ball out, they take care of you. So that's why
he wasn't top 3 at his position when we paid him that extension.
No, yeah, I'm saying if we
didn't even pay him like that. We gave him top 5. We gave him him the 5th. We gave him the 5th most guaranteed money of a corner in the league. We didn't even give him top 3.
But as you're building
if we repay him now,
if you're building a perennial winner now, which we hope we are. And we have a window now of a 5-year or 6-year window. Do we want the reputation that this team will gladly pay the free agents that never performed for them, but they continue to let all of the guys they draft walk when it's time to pay?
At the end of the day, they're only hurting themselves because they only have a certain window with this team, with this defense to win. And the more they get rid of their marquee players because they can't get over their own ego. Right? They can't put their ego to the side.
My whole thing is
they'll figure it out. Bro.
If you get to the playoff, the only way you're going to beat these teams like the Ravens or the Chiefs or the Bills is with X.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
And then the more they give them more reason to run out of town, no pun intended, their ass is on the line. The more chances their ass is on the hot seat. So I don't get it. They're writing their own ticket out of Miami.
Can I ask a bit of a controversial question? Is Xavien Howard too good for us right now? Is our window too long for Xavien Howard? So if we've got a window, we want to win a Super Bowl, we may be 2-3 years down the line, and X is going to be a little bit too old. Is he too good for us too soon?
I don't think so.
I think you can see. Here's the thing. You got to learn how to win, right? And I truly believe that even if we don't win a Super Bowl, if you have X for the next 2 or 3 years, I think you can talk divisional, maybe one of those years sneaking in an AFC championship. So when he does leave, the majority of this core young roster that we've started to build, they know what it takes.
Right. It maybe buys you Noah's a young player. It maybe buys you an extra year of development out of him. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because
you got X there to mentor, right?
And let's not forget Holland.
Show him something.
How old's Gilmore ball game?
29.
He'll be he turns 30 I think in October.
And we all expect him to be a top 10 corner again this year, correct?
Sure. Not come out that injury he had.
Yeah, I think in that defense, yes.
Well,
what do you had, an ACL tear?
You would think.
So if his knees hold up, you could see X being a top 10 corner till 31, correct? If his knees hold up.
Yeah.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah, I think you could pay him. I think you could.
Oh, my bad. No, he turns September 19th, 1990 is his birthday. So he's
You got to turn 31.
31.
31.
Yeah. He old, man.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, yeah.
I think Reason's on to something. 2-year deal.
I mean, I'd love that. I'm not
And it
sure.
gets you an easy out. You don't have what do we have? What do we have left on the deal? What do we have after this year? 3 more years?
3 more years. Yeah.
So you got this year and next
Restructured
year, and next year, you know what? If he's healthy this year and he balls out, next year you can give him another. You can extend it another year or 2.
Yep. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that'd be a
Make
good
him
option.
earn those 4 years back from you.
So I wanted to say, though, one of the things that makes the situation messy is people's emotions. Like we've talked about, egos and being disrespected. That is one of the things that makes it a messy situation is people are emotional creatures, man. And, we like to get up in our feelings and shit. So it's a messy situation.
And me and Ballgame talk about it all the time too. The stubbornness of these coaches. Yeah. That's what it comes down to with Flores. He's probably saying to Greer, let him walk. I can get it out of McCourty or Noah or McCourty, Noah, and need him with a committee type of style on that side. Yeah. He's probably thinking I can get that out of these guys because he probably, and rightfully so, he probably believes the scheme outweighs the individual player.
Yep.
Right, and you have a situation where X has moved on to Cantor now, so you have an agent who's basically got one mission.
Cantor's trying to get himself paid too.
Right, and he's got one mission. He's selling X on the idea that I could bring something to the table here. I could, you didn't bring me in to have me sit here for the 4 years while you play out this deal, and then we'll worry about that.
And look at who he brought in. Right. The guy who during Chris Greer's tenure has gotten guys paid outside of Miami.
Yep.
On the flip side,
that was strategic. I don't care what anyone says. He strategically brought in David Cantor for that.
That's what Rhino was saying from the jump.
Say again, Ballgame?
I say I guarantee there's no good blood between Greer
and
Cantor. So
Greer probably had a fucking seizure when Cantor walked in the room, bro.
This fucking guy.
Why the fuck's this guy in my building? Get this guy out of here, man.
Bro, I'll tell you this much. We talked about it with me, you, and Richmond. If David Cantor gets X out of Miami, buddy, that guy better not walk into
Cantor's got to leave with him.
Oh, bro, he better not come into the city limits because that guy's going to get juked as soon as he fucking steps foot in there, bro.
You know, I think though, guys, if we let X walk out of here on a trade or anything like
he's not leaving, bro.
No, he's not. I agree 100%. This is getting because it just makes too much sense.
Yeah, but if he walks, the rest of the league's going to say Miami let another top player walk away.
We don't even have to entertain that, bro. He's not going anywhere. They're going to get it fixed. He just got to show up and do his. He got to show up and do his job. And they're going to take care of him. They want him here. They want him here. There's no doubt about it. He just got to learn now at this point that what he did in the offseason and all this extra talking and shit and being in his feelings and expressing that out there amongst the you can't do that. That's not going to be the norm going forward. That's just not.
He's not gonna change that. I mean, especially with the point about bringing in David Cantor. Why did he do that? He did it intentionally to be aggressive, right? He did it with the intent of I'm gonna go after these guys.
Right? The
bulldog that scares Greer. Well, I mean, the bulldog that scares Greer out of his pants, right? He brought this dude in so that way he could, sick him on him and get them the deal he wants, or get him out of town.
You hope somebody can get into Xavien's ear and just says, "Listen, you know what? At least let the team, as much as we're talking about setting precedences and doing things they don't have to do, at least let the team save some face when they do it. Don't embarrass them into paying you again now. Like at least let them save some face and make it look like we did it to reward him. Otherwise, it looks like we begrudgingly paid our best player, and the franchise still looks bad."
Cantor's standing around with a dick in his hand right now because they don't have to negotiate shit right now.
Right, at all.
So, and he can tell X whatever he want to tell him, but at the end of the day, When that guaranteed money hit his contract, his rights belong to the Miami Dolphins, and he is expected to show up and do his job. No matter how he feel about it, get over build a bridge and get over that shit, because at the end of the day, we're not talking to you until you come in and sit down and talk to us about how you really feeling. And let's be honest. I'm looking at this thing now since 2016 to 2020 seasons, right? 5 seasons. He missed 24 games in 5 seasons.
That's a lot of games. That's worse than DVP.
Yeah, what about last 2 seasons?
Okay, so training camp starts July 27th, right?
Yes, sir.
When does it end?
It's
around August. August.
Obviously, the end of August,
September,
right?
Yeah. Middle of September,
Yeah.
when the season
September 9th is the
starts.
first game, right? Or something like that?
14th for us. That's the Hall of Fame game, I think.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let's say it goes September 1st, okay? Let's just throw a number out there, okay? How many days are in July? 30 or 31? Does anyone know?
31.
31
Okay,
days.
so how many days are in August? 30 then?
31. No, it's 31.
So,
It's 31 in both months.
So if I do this, okay, so for mini camp, he forfeited $93,000, okay?
Yep.
Training camp, if we go to September 1st, training camp would cost him $434.
His whole contract.
It's like
34
$750K,
times.
right?
It would cost him. Oh man, it would cost him 50.
I think it's a little under $1 million, right? Like
it would cost him $1.7 million. $1.7
It's
million.
50 a day, right?
Is that
50
what?
days.
50,000
Well,
a day.
hold on.
50,000 a day.
People say he's not going to do that. But if he believes that he can either get a contract from the Dolphins that he likes or get one somewhere else, why wouldn't he? If it's $1 million with the millions that he's already made, plus you
obviously don't know. You obviously don't know the story about his girl's spending habits.
Well, whatever. But I'm saying if he feels like he can get that money, and if he feels like he's going to get that bag, why wouldn't he? With the comment of "I bet on myself," right? Like, so if he feels like he can get that, why would the $1 million be that much to forfeit? Now, if he started holding out of games, then it starts to really get expensive, right? But $1 million, I mean, whatever. Maybe he's broke. I don't know. Maybe his chick fucking done ran.
I was gonna say, what's that? What's that? $1.7 million? That's a lot of Louis, Gucci, and Prada for the wife.
Shit, especially in Miami.
I will say a birdie has told me he's showing up.
He's what?
A birdie has told me he's showing up.
He's showing up. Yeah.
That's good news. That's good news. Ball game. Yeah.
Bro,
there you go.
If you don't show up, you're gonna get into another domestic with the wife. Where's my money? Where's my money?
He needs to show up and give us about 12 to 13
this baby ain't
interceptions.
feeding himself. This baby ain't feeding himself.
Where's my?
That's the first step towards showing up. Is the first step towards good faith.
Yeah, I just don't see why you would bother then getting the aggressive, whatever, and holding out a mini camp and having all these comments. Like, if you're just gonna then turn around and play ball,
let me
because
ask you
you're
a
trying
question.
to invoke another team into making an offer.
You got kids? Do you have
He
kids?
likes playing poker.
No, I get that.
You don't have, so we don't understand that.
Look at his face when he said
You don't
no.
understand. You understand? Because kids will stand in the corner and pout like a motherfucker all the time, thinking that they're gonna get something done, but they still gonna get their ass.
Bro, you should see my kid pout over Kinder Surprises, bro.
Look. I don't have any kids of my own. I did take care of my nephew for a few years when he was young. It's not quite the same thing, but I do have a little.
No, you get credit for it. Congrats. Yeah, salute.
That's the same thing.
I mean, he lived. Yeah, he lived with me when he was 1 to 3. It was 2 years.
Oh yeah.
You put up with the years. Don't worry.
You vested.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, you got right. Yeah. You got out at the perfect time, right before the 3 hit, though.
I had to. I had him during his 3rd year or whatever. But
you definitely put up. You had a kid without having a kid.
I had to give him a whooping for using the N-word on the playground. I was like, bro, you can't be doing that. No, but anyway,
you got to tone down the hip hop you're playing in the house, bro.
Yeah,
right. That could be coming from the hip hop.
Bro, I drive every morning. I drive my kid to daycare. I bump like Nas, Mobb Deep. And she's wondering, like, she'll be like, she loves Michael Jackson, and she'll be like, "Yo, put on Michael." I'm like, "No, Daddy's Michael's the best artist ever." But I'm like, "No, Daddy wants to listen to his hip hop today," and she'll always ask, "Oh, what's this group? What's the name of the song?" And sometimes she'll ask what certain words in the song are.
Phone call coming,
and I'm just preparing myself to explain that one.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, that's rough.
Oh, you should see Katy Perry. She got some. What is that? What is that? Hot in Your Cold song? You know that Hot in Your Cold? Is that Katy Perry? Yeah. Well, you know, in one line she says, "You're a bitch." Well, like we're sitting there bathing her, and she recited that verse like word for word, including "You're a bitch," and like we laughed our ass off. She did it again. We laughed our ass off, and then we're like, "Yo, you can't say that." Now when she says it, she says, "You're a B."
She done figured out. She done figured out the line of where it's safe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
kids.
But anyway, sorry. Go ahead about your story.
That's how you do it.
Me? I don't know.
Yeah.
He's showing up, man. I
was.
He's gonna be all right.
I don't know.
It's gonna be all right.
I hope so. But even so, I mean,
even if choice, bro.
Even if he is the kid in the corner pouting or whatever, I mean, like, I don't know, just like, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a grudge holding person, but like, if somebody disrespects me to my face or whatever, like, I'm not just gonna take it either. Like, I think the relationships. I don't know. Hopefully, I'm wrong.
How long does that kid stand in the corner pouting when everybody else in the room has moved on?
Right. Yeah, I think
how stubborn they are, I guess.
You know, you hope that,
if you're stubborn enough, you'll pout all day and all night.
You know, you hope that if you're ex and
but you look like a jackass over there too.
Yeah, but I mean,
he listen.
People
bro,
do a lot of dumb things out of ego and pride, right? Like, so I mean,
yeah, give money back because you decide that you're upset with the organization, and come on, man. When you're
fighting for more money, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to give $50,000 a day back.
Yeah.
The thing is, this guy's he's a top three corner now. So you've got to look at this and you've got to think now: am I going to pay this guy as a top three corner at 28 years old, but he does have some injury issues, or am I going to decide, you know what? I'm not comfortable with this. I'm going to have to trade him. You know, it's down to Chris Greer, isn't it, really, and Brian Flores.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'd keep him because I think, you know, he's the best player on the team. But, you know, I can understand if they...
I benched my own son, so... Y'all know.
I've done that.
The motherfucker was talking shit about the coverages that we were running, and then they had the audacity to go and discuss it with somebody that didn't have anything to do with my defense. Yeah, you're gonna sit the whole first quarter or something. It's down. Yeah.
Question me.
I've benched my son enough that my wife has said to me, you know, we need to talk about you sitting my kid. What's my kid do?
My wife knew without a shadow of a doubt that one thing for sure, when I'm in charge of the situation, I know why I'm doing what I'm doing. I explain everybody's their role and how their role fits into the grander scheme of things. Don't question me because I've already done all of the heavy lifting. You just got to go out and execute. Right. So when he was bitching and complaining, I think I need.
Yeah, and that's the easiest way to get some mutiny going. The last thing you need is your son putting up a fight.
Sit your ass down. No, but you know what that tells. That tells the team. Coach Taylor don't play. If you will bench your own bloodline,
you know
what I'm saying? In his senior year, when he's got scouts all over the place looking at him, that man.
That must have been a fun drive home.
He rode with his mom home. But we never discuss football after games. Never. We just always waited till the next morning when we had to go back to the school to do film breakdown. That's when we discussed any differences. Yeah. You know, I was always dad at home. Yeah. No football talk, none. And like even when the scouts showed up, I was always, hey, you go talk to his position coach. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, I'm not. That's your son, though. No, go talk to his position coach.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Is X the best corner we have had in the modern era?
He's probably the best corner we've had
ever.
Man, all I know is I cannot wait to see this secondary with X and insert Javon Holland in there, man. I think X and Holland can make magic together, man.
That's what I can't wait to see.
The ball hawk duo, bro.
Then I hear all this X stuff. It was like, oh my God, because that was my favorite pick out of the whole draft. And then to hear the Xavien Howard shit, I was like, please, God, no. Because I really feel like we could have the best secondary in the NFL.
So I just want X. You know what, X? I want him
legit corners.
I want him to show up in those what do you call them? The team shorts that Ryan Fitzpatrick showed up in last year for training camp. And just flash, show off his booty and just flash to the team.
The thing about it is you see the vision of what's been built on defense, but it just seems predicated for X. But you go, finally, maybe we have multiple pass rush options. We should be able to stop the run a little bit more and set up more, 3rd and 7s and 3rd and 8s. And now we got pass rush, and then we got Holland. We got 2 ball hawks in the secondary, and you go, the whole thing just works. Don't mess it up. Don't mess it up over money.
Yeah, tell X that.
Yes, I know.
Yeah. Tell them don't mess it up.
Believe me, I push back, boys. I push back on this whole thing. There's been some conversation.
The grass ain't always greener. Stay on here with us. We're doing something special over here.
All right, boys. We just passed the 2-hour mark. I'm gonna go start Space Jam, and I pause because I'm afraid of what this is gonna be.
I can't do it.
Up. There's HBO or on Disney. Is it Disney Plus or HBO Max?
I think HBO Max.
It's download illegally.net.
You tell me.
It's on HBO Max.
I was thinking HBO
I rely
Max.
on you to tell me about it. I can't do it.
I got to see what's good.
That first Space Jam, I was young, man. That was like Michael Jordan was my hero, bro. That flu game.
No, Bugs Bunny was the best one in that movie.
I went and I saw that movie, and then on the way I came back home, and the CFL up here, the Canadian Football League, we had. You remember Doug Flutie? Well, he played for the. He played for the Toronto Argonauts before he came up there, right?
Argonauts, yep.
And he was, and I think the it was in Edmonton that year, I think. And bro, the amount of snow on the field, like it was ridiculous. So, I got like fond memories of that. And plus, Michael Jordan to me is the greatest individual athlete of any sport I've ever seen. Yes. So I love me some Michael Jordan. And actually, my name is. He was born. What is he born? February 17th, right?
Yep. Yes.
I'm born February. I'm born February 18th, and my name's Jordan Michael.
Huh.
Okay.
Quirky fact.
Oh man.
Guys, next time I gotta let me tell you.
Jordan Michael,
huh? Is your dad a fan?
No, Michael was my grandfather's middle name.
Oh, okay.
My grandfather's first name. So it just worked out like that.
Oh man.
And I was born in 85. I was born in 85, so Michael Jordan wasn't huge yet. Nope. Like he was getting there.
He was his first year.
He was still getting his ass kicked by the
Celtics and Pistons.
Yeah.
Pistons.
And Portland. Portland would give him the work back then too, if I remember correctly.
That's what gets me when people try to talk about LeBron being the GOAT. I'm like, man,
bro,
LeBron would not have been able to handle.
It's because of recency. That's why
you know how many people forget that this guy won Defensive Player of the Year awards and shit?
Yeah, he did. He was on
defensive teams. If his pops did not die, the Bulls would have ran the whole 90s.
8 straight, they would have won, bro, if his dad didn't die, bro.
If they had,
if he didn't think he was going to be in the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame someday.
But they hadn't signed that dog. If they hadn't signed that dog from Central Arkansas to join him up there and become the best fucking Robin ever.
Pippen?
Yes.
Pippen.
I love Jordan, but you got him up and give Pippen.
He had a good rap. He had an awesome Robin. Yeah,
too.
He did. Yeah, Dennis was good.
Rodman did the dirty work.
And Scottie Pippen Jr. just turned everybody down. Now he's gonna be good.
Steve Kerr had key shots.
Yeah, Paxson.
Paxson, coach.
Yo, don't forget my boy Horace Grant.
Yeah, Horace did.
Yeah, what they did to them when Horace went to Orlando, bro, was not even cool.
I know.
No,
those goggles will forever be classic, bro.
It was them classic goggles. Yeah. But you can't forget about Kareem now in the goggles.
Oh yeah. But I wasn't. Kareem wasn't he done by the time? Like I started watching basketball heavily in like '90. My sister was a huge basketball fan. That's why I started.
He was done already. It had been retired.
Yeah. All right, let's get some final thoughts. Dylan, let's start with you, buddy.
Like I said, I want this X thing to just be gone. As far as that goes, when it comes to those signings, I mean, it was the Isaiah Ford thing. It's just weird and mind-boggling to me. Like, why are you continuing to double down at a position where he's probably not even going to make the roster to then get rid of guys at positions where you actually do need more help, like center and safety? So, like, I don't know. I don't know. Just another good show. Good. Glad to be here, and it was good talking with y'all.
Yeah, and they opened up one roster spot by releasing Gauthier and
right?
Yeah, and what's his face and Brian Cole.
Cole.
Well, I mean that, and real quick too, that is interesting. It especially tying in with a lot of these trade rumors, and if that did come to fruition, then it could be just a prelude to that. So we'll see.
Yeah, Todd, your final thoughts, buddy.
Guys, just thank you so much again for I love everybody's perspective. It's such a fun night every night. Reason, thank you so much. And X knows he's got to get paid this year because we keep saying he's the best player on the Dolphins, and we all know there's going to be 2 at the end of this year's season. Yeah. So he knows he's got to get paid now.
Yeah. And George, I would agree, like best overall athlete, Bo Jackson. But I'm just talking about best athlete in individual sport. I would say would be Jordan. Because I mean, no one's ever going to forget.
They both were gifted.
Bo Jackson was a freak.
Bo,
I don't care what anybody said.
He was
in his first All-Star game, bro, was a leadoff hitter, just boom, right out of the park. British fan, you're British Fin fan. Your final thoughts, buddy?
Yeah, first I'd just like to thank all my North American friends on here for the discussion tonight. I think it's been really constructive and very positive, as much as we can be. I would just like to say that, there's a saying in life that sometimes you don't know what you've got until it's gone. And I think we need to be mindful of this with Xavien Howard and try and get the best deal possible. If we do trade him, I'd personally like to see us keep him. But if we do trade him, push the boundary as much as we can and get as much as we can for him. And if we do lose him, it'll be a sad day. I don't like to see the secondary breakup like that, but you just have to trust that if he doesn't want to be here anymore, get as much as you can and, rebuild and move on.
Ball game, your final thoughts?
I'm gonna err on the side of business will get conducted as business needs to get conducted, but he'll be a part of this team going forward. I think they'll leave all the pettiness outside and they'll come to some mutual agreement that works for both sides so that he can save face and they can save face. And then we can continue on this process of building ourselves to the next level of next echelon of supreme team. So I'm gonna stay there. I'm gonna stay in the positivity side of it because, unfortunately, he doesn't have a lot of leverage, and the Dolphins at this point have to set some level of a precedence. Otherwise, you go back to repeating previous regimes' mistakes, and you don't ever evolve going backwards. So it is what it is.
And me and Ball Games podcast, the 39th episode of the Finish Line with Richmond Webb should be coming out this weekend. Crypto, your final thoughts?
Yeah, good show, Reason. Yeah, sometimes I think, and I feel like it's the Dolphins' version of the French Revolution. Whose head's going to roll first? I'm like, my goodness, but eventually they're going to get it solved. I think, kind of like what Ball Game was saying. It's gonna. I think eventually they'll call stalemate, and then they'll come together and figure out something. And if not, then it's still made in the other direction. They'll figure out good terms with a trading partner, a willing trading partner, to get us what we need that'll help both sides of the deal. So I'm thinking that's ultimately what's going to happen by all the deadlines and everything. But I think eventually, if the latter happen, I think we'll be fine, because strategically we can scheme up against certain offenses in the league that'll let us get, able to put us in position to win and get enough wins to be a playoff contender. So that's what I think.
Irving, your final thoughts, buddy?
Yeah, man. I understand both sides of I understand both sides of the whole situation. Both of them have legitimate arguments to make against each other, but it all boils down, are these guys willing to put their egos aside and come to a sort of like common ground, and come to a place where they can come to an agreement? Because the more they drag this out, the more toxic it's going to be for guys in the locker room, especially the relationship between the players and the coaching staff, and it's going to affect ownership. Both of these guys got to understand, Chris Greer and Brian Flores got to understand that, X is tied to their future, is tied to their future here with the Dolphins, because just as much pressure as Brian Flores and Chris Greer put on Tua, they have to put pressure on themselves to make sure that they keep this team in the best shape to win. And so it goes hand in hand. So, and X got to understand, this team didn't, they have no ties to you. They didn't draft you. There's no way that they're loyal to you. I mean, there's no reason that they can be they should be loyal to you, and they showed you good faith. They went through through the storm, and they stuck by you through your injuries, through your domestic issues, through everything else, and because they took a huge gamble, they believe that your talented superseded your off the field issues and your injury history. So. X, and I understand X, he has.
Bro, I got a movie to watch,
but, yeah. No, but my quick point is, I want to wrap this up. Real quick. Just X, just stick to your deal. You got no leverage. Just play, man, and that's it. Sorry, I took too long.
No worries. Florida Born, your final thoughts.
My final thoughts are: give this man. Tear up his contract, give him a Darrelle Revis deal. Let's go out there and have the best defense in the league. And I'm ready to see Tua have an MVP season. To let people that think trade X for Aaron Rodgers, let them know that Tua is the man.
Ooh,
Clump,
where you at?
Those throwbacks, though.
No, I love you, Clump.
We got to consult Pete on that one.
All right, guys, I'll be back on Monday night. And every Monday night I've previewed the last 3 Monday nights. I've previewed the roster in 3 different parts: offense, defense, special teams. Heading into the season, I'll give you my final roster prediction on Monday night with all the bodies that we have currently going in. And newsflash, Isaiah Ford doesn't make the team. All right, so I'll see you guys Monday night right back here. Have a happy, healthy, safe, blessed weekend. If news breaks this weekend, then I'll be back. Unless it doesn't, hope you all stay happy, healthy, safe, and blessed. Fins up all day, every day.
Go enjoy your
Fins up.
Yep.